Keith Thurman pitches a shutout over Leonard Bundu. I didn't even give Bundu a round in the fight. Thurman had Bundu down in the first round. But from there on in, it was Thurman mostly boxing on the back foot, moving around, switching up angles, keeping Bundu off balance, not allowing Bundu to get in close and land any punches. Bundu showed great toughness, determination. He was coming forward, but just wasn't throwing enough shots. Bundu understood that as the shorter guy with the shorter arms, he had to get in close to be able to get his shots off. He didn't want to be caught reaching with shots because Thurman was moving around and moving back. If Bundu had decided to throw shots while he wasn't at the correct range for a guy with short arms like himself, that would have left him open and vulnerable to those big power shots that were coming back from Keith Thurman. So he didn't want to take any chances, but he was pushing forward, but he didn't want to take any chances in terms of making mistakes and wasting shots and leaving himself open to counters. And Keith Thurman, for the most part, he was moving around, and people, I think the commentators and certainly the crowd was surprised that Thurman was moving so much, that he was on the back foot so much, and that he didn't try and come forward and press the action and go for the knockout. And the crowd were actually booing at several stages throughout the fight, which I felt was a little unfair. I didn't think the fight was as negative as those boos would have seemed to indicate it was. Thurman was landing and was throwing hard shots in there. It's just Bundu's defense was actually pretty good because he wasn't throwing much. He was tucking up. The shots which were landing from Keith Thurman were hitting Bundu on the forehead and the side of the head, so he was able to take them. The shot which dropped him in the first round actually landed bang in the mouth. So I think that's why he wasn't able to drop Bundu. The fact that Bundu was tucking up nice and tight, wasn't giving Keith Thurman too many clean opportunities, you know, to land clean shots. And I guess he is a pretty tough old man. So I thought it was a pretty good performance by Keith Thurman. Like I say, I don't think the booing was warranted. I think it was a pretty good performance. Not the most exciting thing you've ever seen, but he showed versatility. And a few weeks ago when Kovalev fought Bernard Hopkins, people were saying that Kovalev is an amazing boxer because of what he did to Hopkins. He's the most complete fighter out there. This is what people were writing in the comment section. And this is why I wholeheartedly disagree with that statement, because you see a guy like Keith Thurman, who is a power puncher as well, when he can't discourage a guy from coming forward at him, when he can't discourage a guy from attacking him, from pressuring him, he's got a back foot game. He can move around the ring. He don't have to rely on his power. He's got the skills to win fights just boxing like that and pitching shutouts. He doesn't have to intimidate guys with his power. Okay, he doesn't have to contain them and keep them on the back foot. He doesn't have to do that. He can win fights moving around, jabbing, moving, what have you. Versatility. Okay, can Kovalev do that? If Kovalev's against a guy who can take his shots and will still keep coming forward and pressuring Kovalev and forcing Kovalev back, can Kovalev deal with that? I don't think he can. And that's why I stick by what I said before. Kovalev don't have amazing boxing skills. He has decent fundamentals, but there's nothing amazing there in terms of his skills. It's his power that makes him special. Yes, decent, well-schooled fighter, but nothing special. Certainly, someone said he had better boxing skills than Andre Ward. Certainly don't have nothing like Andre Ward boxing skills. Let's not be silly now. But nonetheless, that's the comparison I want to make in terms of Keith Thurman and another puncher in Sergey Kovalev. Thurman showed that versatility. He showed that if he can't win by knockout, if he can't intimidate a guy, he can win moving around the ring. So I thought it was a pretty decent performance. He was technically very good. He barely took a clean shot all night. And it depends what style he's matched up against in terms of, are we going to see more Keith Thurman knockouts? I think we will see, because we've seen him previously. We saw him stop Chavez. We've seen him stop, you know, a whole heap of different people. So I'm sure we're going to see him stop guys again. He stopped Jesus Soto Carras. Guys who are more open, guys who are not as short and compact as Leonard Bundu are going to give him more opportunities. And certainly a guy who fights with his chin in the air, like Kell Brook. And I'm not dissing Kell Brook, by the way. He obviously did a very good job against Sean Porter, but I think that Kell Brook was actually in the studio talking about the Keith Thurman fight, and he wasn't too impressed. He says that's the first time he's seen Keith Thurman. But I think he needs to go and watch more Keith Thurman because, you know, Brook makes mistakes that Thurman could capitalize on, and he would be able to land cleaner because, you know, Kell Brook keeps his chin in the air a lot of the time. He's a much bigger target, less compact, more open to Keith Thurman's power shot. So I'd like to see a Keith Thurman Kell Brook fight. Thurman said he'd do it. He said he'd go over to the UK and fight Kell Brook. I'd love to see that fight. Make it happen. If they can't get the calm fight, let's see Keith Thurman against Kell Brook. You know, I'm definitely up for that. So drop your comments below. Let me know how you feel about Thurman's performance. Do you think his power's overrated now? Some people are going to say his power's overrated. Although you've got people out there like Mike Tyson, you know, from back in the days. Mike Tyson went the distance several times against people like Tony Tucker, James Quick Tillis, a guy who'd been stopped previously. Tyson wasn't able to stop him. Bone Crusher Smith, another guy who was stopped, but Tyson wasn't able to stop him. So big punches do go the distance, guys, believe it or not. So I don't know, maybe you weren't impressed, but I thought it was a good technical display, and he showed that he's got different things in his game. If he can't hurt a guy, he can outbox him instead. So yeah, drop your comments below. This is Hatman, I'm out.